Sorry about that, Lowcountry. We had to take a little bit of a break.
Happens.
Yeah, the tank filled up here. So we're back with Nick DeSimone, the Indulgent Islander. With some great information. I'm glad that he agrees with us on some of these food choices, especially the pizza over there at Ralphie's.
Yeah, and one other thing that I want to mention, sandwich-wise.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit of a ride, but I go over to Savannah to eat quite a bit.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to Rocky's New York Deli of Savannah?
Mm-mm.
I've heard really good things.
Let me tell you, if you got 45 minutes or, well, an hour and a half round trip, I guess, it is worth the ride, man. I mean, I'll drive almost an hour to go to Beato's Burgers over in St. Helena, but Rocky's, a guy named Billy Vesicchio, who's from Long Island, his place has been in business for like 7, probably going on 8 years. It's incredible. I mean, he does Parm Fridays. We're talking about chicken parms, chicken parm, eggplant parm, meatball parm, occasionally a veal parm.
Anything you can parm.
He's got a special sandwich this week that they named after a girl that used to work for him. Actually, was the one that asked him to bring it back because I think I don't know if it came up in a memory or something. It came up on my feed. I was like, you got to bring this sandwich back. He named it after a girl that moved back up north, and it's like chicken cutlets with fresh mozzarella, prosciutto, some pepper, like the
Roasted
hot, no, like
cherry peppers.
Yeah, like hot, but not like hot, and oil and vinegar. I think he says like something like a touch or something, like a little touch of mayo. I got to try to get over there. I got some stuff going on, tomorrow and Saturday. But I got to see if I can find a way to get over there because he does these, like I said, specials.
Have you filmed there?
I have.
You have?
Yeah, I did. I think I was going to do a parm, but they ran out of parm because they didn't have any more sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually improvised, and I did something similar to what I just described. I think I had chicken cutlet with fresh mutts and on a garlic bread kind of situation with a little prosciutto on it. It was melt in your mouth, delicious.
Oh my God.
Another place that's a problem because I put the order in and I'm like, let me get a couple cannolis.
Come on.
Yeah.
They got bagels that come from up north.
Oh, yeah.
I don't usually go for the bagels there, but if I'm there, I mean, it becomes a problem, especially it gets a little bit of cooler. I'll have some soup and stuff. He does breakfast sandwiches too. I don't really find myself out in Sandfly, out in Savannah, and for breakfast sandwiches that often. Occasionally, I might get there late morning on a Saturday and do breakfast, but that place is awesome. I have a sandwich there, maybe a sandwich and a quarter, sandwich and a half if I'm really hungry. And then I'm usually bringing one home for my wife and another. I always say I like to keep one in the chamber.
So do you enjoy barbecue?
Do you like this one or this one?
I do like barbecue. I'm not like the biggest barbecue person on the planet because I'm the type of person that like I'm not a rodizio type of person. I don't want to go and be like all the meats and, be just eating all kinds of meat and everything like that. Like Arby's, right? We have the meats. I'm kind of like more of picayune. Like I want a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Yeah, like I just like to have a lot of different things, and like that's why I like I'm a huge Asian food fan because I'll order Chinese.
I was going to ask you.
I'll order
like Doriano food,
7-8 things, and I usually order enough so that we can get like another meal or two out of it. But yeah, I do like barbecue.
So there's so few places around here for Chinese, and that's good. What do you think about that?
See, I'm like, I don't want to use like I say, I'm not so snobby. I'm just not that picky. Like, yes, I do like good Chinese. My wife and I ordered a week or two ago. We ordered Hong Kong. Hong Kong reminds me of a place back home that was called King Wok, and I could call, and the food would literally be on my doorstep in 15 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah,
the Americanized type of Chinese food. I have never had a bad meal from. They're just consistent. I mean, it's
like going to the food court Chinese place at Eastview.
Yeah, where's Hong Kong is over
Rainbow
by the
Walk.
new Publix. Is that by the new Publix?
Hong Kong is by the Publix that's by the Kroger over at Buckwalter Place.
Buckwalter.
Oh, okay.
Where Wasabi is. Yeah. But honestly, like most recently, E-Tang, specifically the new one in Okatee, that's my favorite by a long shot. I'm glad that an E-Tang came to Hilton Head. The original one on Oglethorpe and Savannah is definitely the best. You got like an old couple behind the bar, like hand folding soup dumplings.
Oh, nice. Where's E-Tang? You said it's in Okatee?
E-Tang is in Okatee, where that weird post office / dry cleaners is by the Jersey Mike's.
I know
Oh,
where
we've
it's at.
been
Oh,
there. We've been there.
we have. We have been there.
It
It
used
was
to
a
be
long time ago, but we went there. We really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It used to be an Asian fusion place that I never got a chance to try.
Oh, maybe that's where.
And then E-Tang took over. It's very different than the other one. Like the one in Hilton Head's kind of got that diner vibe to it. It's a little, dark and little old fashioned. But the one in Okatee is very bright. It's got a lot of like neon signs and stuff like that. And the girl Lorena that I think she goes back and forth from Greenville. We did some content there. Me and RJ Torres from Visually Chopped did some stuff over there. I love that place. I'll go there and eat. I'll get some like, Peking duck or whatever. But usually it's like I said, it's usually like, soup dumplings and this dumplings and that. And then it's like, they got all kinds of dim sum specials. The place is awesome. The portions are great.
Were you a fan of nude on the island?
I did like nude.
I did too.
One time I went to a festival at Lowcountry Celebration Park, and I'm not a big festival guy because I feel like you get more for your money if you're a drinker versus an eater. A couple of the vendors bailed out, so we went to this event that we paid for and ended up leaving hungry, and then we actually ended up going over to nude. Alex Vito's a great guy. I love Al's Aloha Kitchen. And I did like nude. I know Bad Biscuit eventually moved in there, and Alex's guys ended up doing like the hibachi cruises.
Yeah.
In
I've heard about
Which
those.
that sounds fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, for sure. I did like it. I mean, it was definitely different, but no, I was a fan. I like I said, I do also go over to Savannah quite a bit, and there's a restaurant group over there that's called, it used to be called Ellie and the Chef. Now it's called Rhino Hospitality Group. They own about 12, 13 restaurants, and one of them is called Flock to the Walk. And
Okay.
that is
I think I've seen
spectacular.
like I know that I probably walked by it or something.
I mean, because listen, it's essential to have a good Chinese place.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever you live, it doesn't matter.
I agree.
It is essential. It doesn't matter. There's very few people who are like, like I'm not with Chinese. But I mean, Chinese takeout and Chinese food is it's sparse. I mean, it's not like you have a whole bunch of choices.
There aren't a ton. There are definitely not a ton of choices. I remember during COVID, there was a supply chain issue, and a lot of the Americanized Chinese restaurants were having trouble because where they were getting their stuff from, it wasn't coming in. So a lot of the Americanized Chinese restaurants shut down for a little while. And it's kind of funny because one of the things that we did that remember was kind of like one of the first things that we did when we actually went out to go pick up food somewhere. We hadn't had Chinese food in like the longest time.
Right.
And I remember like I called or put it in an order in one of the malls in New Jersey and went to pick up P.F. Chang's. And you had to see the caravan of cars that were pulling up to P.F. Chang's to get curbside pickup. And I'm not saying the P.F. Chang's, it's okay.
Yeah, it's
but
all
like
right.
that's how bad I missed Chinese food that I was willing to drive like a half an hour to like Riverside Square Mall in Hackensack to get P.F. Chang's.
See, people people that are born and raised down here don't understand about how important malls were to us in the north.
For real.
Like it doesn't like the food court food was like that. Look, that was the best Chinese you were gonna get. Period.
And I agree with both of you that the food court, the Chinese place in the food court, whether it was the Garden State Plaza or one or two of the other malls, I thought that those places were really good. But yeah, E-Tang's up there, and I mean, I've tried a couple of the other places. Like I said, Hong Kong to me just reminds me of that place that's just always going to be consistent. Even Akamea, quite frankly. I know they do a little Chinese and Japanese, but it's been a while since I've had them. But that's pretty solid too over there.
Here's a side trail. Do you eat veal? I assume
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
Have you been to Il Carpaccio?
I went to Il Carpaccio. So my dad's in the Italian American Club, and I went there with him very early on to a meeting, and I didn't end up joining. It's an older demographic, which is fine. He loves it. He helps with their golf. He ran their golf outing this year, I think last year as well. they for a while they were having their meetings there. Now they're doing Frankie Bones on the island. But I went there. I actually had a really good lunch, and and they do the Italian Heritage Festival. He's usually working the Zeppeli table, which is always a good time. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed my lunch. I've heard good things about the pizzas there. Supposedly are good.
Yeah, I guess my parents have had the veal, and it was like the only place that they would go to eat veal around
That's
here.
interesting.
And it's and I want to try it, and I didn't know if you had.
So when you go to it, so I'm Italian, obviously.
Yeah,
DeSimone.
DeSimone.
DeSimone. For Hilton Head, I always used to say that I had the big three. I kind of had to expand it to the big four. Michael Anthony's. It really depends on what you're looking for. Michael Anthony's, if you want that like a little bit more formal situation. My family and I had a dinner for a but we're all summer birthdays. One of the birthdays we had at Michael Anthony's. It was excellent. Robbie Colson, who was actually working at Nude, is one of the chefs over there now. He's going to do a pod with me. He's incredible. They always do great stuff. That's kind of like, that just reminds me of being here on vacation. That was like the first Italian place that we started going to.
Tell them to make some noodles. Can we have some of that lo mein, please? I really missed that.
They were good.
It was really good.
Even the mac and cheese with Spam was actually a guilty pleasure. I used to save those trips for when my wife was like going to visit her family or something like that. I would go to Nude and just drop like $50.
Yeah.
Michael Anthony's, Ombra, which of course, was Michael Anthony, left Michael Anthony's and opened Ombra. I don't think Michael Surfesi's around anymore, but Ombra's.
Somebody got divorced or something.
Something like that, yeah. The food there is excellent too. Ombra's a little bit more loud, lively. They got a great revolving ravioli special that I think is really good. Their veal is good, but honestly, my favorite place for veal, even though the veal involtini at Michael Anthony's, where they roll it up with like fontina and prosciutto or something, is one of my favorite dishes on the island. My thing is Nunzio. He gets them individually, the cutlets, like individually wrapped, pounded out, like delivered, whatever. And it's been a while since I've been there. To me, that's kind of like the best ambiance with the high ceilings and the paintings. Really nice, you feel like you're kind of like, it's got like that coastal feeling. I had to roll in Pomodori, even though it's a place that's hard to get a reservation at. Pomodori 2 in Bluffton is the best value for takeout Italian anywhere it's the best value for takeout period in Bluffton for the amount of food that you get. Cool. It's incredible. Do
they deliver? I know some of these places do it.
I think I might have been able to get like a toast tab, but I think most of the time I think we pick up. I'm not sure. I think it's most primarily pick up.
I would just pick it up on the way home.
There's some seating there, like where Underground Burrito used to be, and I know sometimes Amanda like plays music and stuff like that when it cools off and whatever. I also have to give a shout out to Cafe Al Dente is one of the newer ones. And they really livened up the space that was formerly occupied by Vine in Coligny. And it's very like, sort of like, white tile, like, kind of classic Italian cafe vibes.
Okay.
They have some pretty good, I had a really, actually that was what was one of the best chicken parms that I've had. I mean, Antonio's was awesome, and that might've been the best, but there's
what was the name of this again?
Cafe Al Dente.
Cafe Al Dente. Way to go.
Yeah.
This is a hard category to be on the top of.
Coligny. That's a good one. And, in Bluffton, there's a very short list of restaurants in Bluffton or Hilton Head that I've not been to. I've not been to Brico yet. I've heard good things about it.
That's off of,
it's next to
kind of like on the edge.
No, it's next to Mi Tierra, right outside the promenade.
Oh,
Brico, yeah. And then
it's the one that I'm thinking of then that they just built next to Burnt Church Distillery. It's that cafe.
Okay, so and I'm glad you mentioned that. Joelle,
thank you.
When you're talking about lunch in Bluffton, there's no better combination of quality of food and quality of environment and atmosphere, especially when the weather starts getting a little bit cooler. Now they open the doors. Robin Brianna DeLeo, they're doing a great job with that place. The salsiccia pizza with the sausage and the ricotta and a little bit of, I think, roasted peppers is one of the best pizzas anywhere. Small bar pie, thin crust.
Okay.
The dinner's great there. Don't get me wrong. I actually
You're
went
a
to a
lunch
wine
guy.
dinner there a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago. I lose track of time. But yeah, Joel's excellent. Mulberry Street's great. Chris Sullivan is back. He was the head chef over at Cotton and Rye in Savannah for a little while. He's now back. Not only is he back cooking at Mulberry Street, but he's also doing his own private chef stuff called Edible Memories, where they're having really cool events. So I actually went to a wine dinner there several weeks ago with my mom because my wife was working or something like that, and we had an unbelievable experience. He's got all kinds of crazy dishes with glass, crystal with lid. He does all this searching for all of this interesting plating and things like that.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
He even did a takeout giant sub thing one time. So when my sister moved into her house in Hilton Head Lakes, I did the whole thing for the family, giant Italian sub with pasta salad and homemade chips. It was awesome. That's another good spot. And I also have to mention,
Nick's the guy you want to count on to be bringing food to your party.
oh, 1,000%. I would get invited to a Jets game with my friend Andrew back home, and I would show up with a $50 to $75 antipasta platter from one of the delis in my town.
Hell yeah.
With prosciutto and freshman. And you're used to tailgates, burgers, dogs, blah, blah, blah. I would show up with legitimate antipasta platter.
No, Italians do it right.
Exactly. Yeah. And like I said,
come on.
I could, if you throw, we talked about olives, mushrooms, cheese, you throw in the salted cured meats in the equation. My brother, it makes me laugh because he wants to have his own hock of prosciutto in the house that he can. And if you look on Amazon, you can actually buy one that comes with the arm and the hook and everything. I thought about it, but the one that I found online was almost $300. So I said, we're going to probably have to save that one, but maybe I'll surprise him. I wanted to even try to joke around and get one of the smaller ones that they sell at Kroger or something. Yeah, just to kind of bust his chops a little bit.
You can build the wheel.
What's that?
You can build the stand.
Yes, exactly. Just one last shout out. I'm a huge fan of Chez George on Hilton Head, which now Chez George is a French restaurant.
Yep.
George Caslicchio has become a very good friend. He's also one of the day one supporters of the podcast, and he and I are going to be doing something soon too. George actually went in with a couple of Italians that moved here from Italy to open their own restaurant, Mattia Bianchi and Giandomenico Prestopino, and Mattia's, I think, fiance, Camilla Ayula. She runs the front of the house, and Mattia and John Doe are the head chef, the two chefs that are running the place. It's excellent. Price point a little bit higher. It's definitely a little bit more of an elevated situation. But when they had their soft opening several months ago, it was earlier this year. I mean, it's in the old Poor Richard space on Bluffton Park.
Oh, that's
Okay.
who went in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really excellent. I mean, when I go to,
I want to say I've heard something else about this. It was at the meeting, so that's the second time I've heard something about it.
It's really good. They're only doing lunch on Sundays now. They're calling it family dinner. It's kind of like a choose one. We went there for, I want to say Mother's Day family dinner. It was excellent. It was one of the best pieces of lasagna that I ever had. I was joking around with Mattia. I said, this is the second best lasagna that I've ever had because I can't say in front of my mother that I have had a better lasagna.
No, you cannot.
And it was Mother's
not
Day.
to an Italian
so
mom.
not on Mother's Day. I can't get myself in trouble on Mother's Day. But I've had a pretty killer prosciutto sandwich there as well. I've had a porchetta sandwich I had him add a little bit of goat cheese to that one time. That was really good. The pastas are just unbelievable. And yes, when you get down to the entrees, you're talking some, steak and halibut and venison and stuff like that. That's where you kind of get really up there. When I'm going to an Italian place like that, and I have two chefs that worked at a Michelin star restaurant in, I think they're from Calabria, I think specifically Torino. I'm doing pasta. So there's 5 or 6 pastas on that menu that are considered like a second course. But if you upgrade them, you pay $10 and you can upgrade them to an entree. And yeah,
It's worth it.
Yeah, they really kind of transformed the space. And don't get me wrong, I loved Poor Richards. I fell in love with Poor Richards when I moved here. Richard and Allie and Justin Ray King, who's going to be doing something with me soon too. They've sort of transitioned to more of a catering thing as well. I think they're still. I think they're calling it 2 chefs, 1 something. And then Allie's doing her amazing desserts and pastries and stuff like that. So they're still doing their thing, but Radici, George and those guys, they took over that space and really turned it into, the reviews have just been kind of coming in fast and furious.
Awesome.
There's this sort of thing where, like in the beginning when they first opened, there were some complaints and things like that, but like sometimes it's just, you got to chalk it up to, and I hate to sound like sort of a elitist or whatever term you want to use. Like, I'm sorry, but there's just some people that don't understand food.
Right.
Like, you're not going to get like traditional Italian food at a place like Radici, because it's coming from like a Michelin star type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I stopped in there to see the guys the other day, and I told them about Antonio's chicken parm pop up, and Camila said that she's never had chicken parmesan. Because in Italy, chicken
It's
parmesan's not a thing.
No.
It's an American thing.
It's an American
Yeah.
thing that we
So-
just were like,
American
ooh, Italian.
And I don't have an issue with somebody wanting, like one of my realtor friends said, sometimes I just want to go out to an Italian place and get chicken parmesan. I totally get it. It's just not what you're going to get at a place like
Yeah,
that.
the Italians are like, summer clown, they make the pizza or make a chicken out of the pizza, you
Right?
know? Yeah.
And the lasagna's out.
Yeah, right? And some of the best Italian dishes that I've actually had are at Chez George, because it might be a French restaurant, but a lot of the dishes are inspired by areas that are right along, excuse me,
France.
the border of France and Italy.
Yeah.
I went to a wine dinner there, and that's I don't. It's not where I met Mattia, because Mattia and John Doe started working there, and Camila as well. They started working at Chez George before they opened Radici, and but prior to that, they had, and I don't know if it was maybe from the same restaurant. I don't know. It was Chef Massimo. I can't even think of what his name was, but they did a wine dinner there with an Italian chef that was over here visiting, and it was just spectacular.
You just said one of my questions. I was going to
Yeah.
ask you, wine pairings. Do you do them? I mean, is it something you're into?
I like wine.
I like wine.
My
You're
wife
Italian.
drinks.
You got to like wine.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Pinot Noir guy. When I went to these last couple of wine dinners, I went to one with the Edible Memories with Sullivan, and then I went to Antonio did wine dinner with Juice Box, that new wine shop that's over on May River Road next to the Realty One office there.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know.
They had an event at the May River Manor this past week, and it was spectacular. I can't do. You're going to start off with a bubbly, and then you're going to give me a white, and then another white, and then you're going to give me a red, and then
Talk
you're going
about
to
a
give me a
headache.
thick red. My wife was out of commission for 2 days.
No, that's a lot to
we
put on
did-
somebody.
The last time that we did a wine dinner together at Shade George, a lot of times I'll have to go, especially if it's a weeknight. Like I said, she gets up early in the morning. But even for me, sometimes I'll go to the wine dinners and I just won't do, maybe I'll do 1 or 2 glasses or none at
Yeah.
all. When I was at May River Manor, we got to a certain point and I was like, I'm good. I actually was able to, Meg James runs that place for Amador, who's the owner, who's a great guy. And she's she's doing an amazing job. She snuck me like a non-alcoholic mango cart, which was exactly what I needed. I was that for that day. I wasn't feeling great, and I just didn't really want to drink. So I was actually kind of doing like the seltzer kind of, soft drink type of thing. But yeah, to answer your question, I will often, like, I'm an eater. Like I don't mind having a glass or 2 of wine.
Right.
I'm a dirty martini once in a while, maybe 2,
Mm-hmm.
or a couple of beer type of thing. My beer pong days are long over when I used to drink a ton of beers, playing beer pong all night. But fond memories of that back in college and after the fact. But I do love wine. I'm totally down always for a bottle of Pinot Noir. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get a good bottle of Pinot. But when it comes to the pairings, you know, it's like especially if they're giving you those big pours
Oh yeah.
and you're
Forget
doing
it.
a 5 or 6
I know.
course thing.
You're
Like,
wasted before the food comes. You don't want to eat.
I don't ever want to take chances and I don't drink and drive. I don't really drink much, period.
Right.
But that one wine dinner that we did at Chez George, I mean, it was unbelievably good. But like I said, my wife was out of commission for 2 days.
It's a lot.
And I drove home, but like I will say, as soon as I got home, I felt like I ran into a brick wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I
it may have
couldn't
taken a
drink
little
anymore.
bit of time to hit me, but it definitely hit me. And when it did, it hit me, you
Maybe one more time.
know. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
bam.
So the other thing I was going to ask you was for wild game. So we have a lot of listeners actually that they're interested in places that serve wild game, and B, like, so it's wild game is easy to mess up.
Yeah.
And very easy. And so it takes up some fine culinary skill to
Oh, absolutely.
cook wild game correctly. Have you found any place around here, or is that something that's even of interest to you?
I'm willing to try anything.
Yeah.
You know, I'm adventurous when it comes to that kind of stuff. I don't really do crazy stuff, but that's something that I could definitely do. Around here, can't really think of anybody that would be doing stuff like that.
It's rare to find it.
Yeah, I think you'd probably have to go over into Savannah. Like I said, Locals Raw Bar over in Ladies Island, you know, there are a lot of, obviously, primarily seafood, and you get some omakase and some sushi stuff going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody's going to take a risk like that, it's probably going to be Hunter Cozart over there. I mean, maybe Matt Wallace at Black Sheep before he kind of converted it to a wine shop luncheonette type of. I think he kind of primarily did that just to give himself more flexibility because he was having trouble sourcing ingredients sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one time there was a ham there that came from a specific place. I can't remember. You know, forgive me for
The
not
story of the ham.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel like that type of person is something that would experiment with stuff like that. But I think for the most part, to get that kind of stuff, I think you got to go over the bridge into Savannah.
Okay.
I think you'll find a little bit more, you know, of that interesting type of stuff on that side of the river.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then, there was another thing I just had on my mind.
Oh, and I have to say this. We talked about Bernard Bennett before. If you want to try some outside the box stuff, go to Ocon.
Where's that?
It's
Okay.
in
The
the
one that
Bridge
used to-
Collective on Calhoun Street.
Oh,
in Old Town.
Okay.
Brand new, well, not brand new, but 2 years, I think he said. I can't believe how it's been 2 years already. They do brunch, which I still need to get to, but that's where you can get like oxtail.
Is it
and
kind
stuff
of like on
that.
a corner-ish
Yeah.
looking building? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
you
Yeah,
just
there's a couple
reminded me
boutique
because you
shops
said
over there.
oxtail. Thank you.
Yeah.
Have you tried any of the authentic Gullah cuisine?
So the biggest buzz, other than the greenhouse, which is coming, I think by December, with Melissa Perry and Jennifer Jerry, her sister, it's going to be like a farm to table type of place right across the street from Ma Daisy's Porch.
Oh,
When you're talking about Gullah, now Ma Daisy's Porch, I didn't realize it's not the restaurant. It's Ma Daisy's Porch is kind of like, that's the location
okay.
is what they're calling it. Bridget Fraser. It's a
They
tribute
really
to her
made
heritage.
that very. I watched how that got constructed and everything. It looks really nice.
It's gorgeous. We were talking about Pomodori. It's right next
Yep.
to there. So you got to
Okay.
pull in the driveway by Pomodori and you got to kind of come back around to the back. It's Chef B's Eats is what the name of the restaurant is. I have not gotten the chance to try it yet. It's on my short list of places to try. They also have Bacchus Bakery kind of behind it. And then there's some sort of like historic Gullah stuff that's going on over there.
Mm-hmm.
That is, people have been saying really good things about it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I asked because there's a growing trend of like we reported on I don't remember the name of it, but the restaurant that opened in the Charleston airport, and this woman sold out of food like right after she rang the bell to open the place.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's like Gullah.
and people are raving about it, about
Red beans and rice.
yeah, being able to come, especially to come into the gates of the Lowcountry, and then they have that restaurant there, and she's killing it. And I haven't tried any of the Gullah cuisine around here.
Easy to
I
do.
mean,
Bernard, he gets into that. It's African / Southern inspired. So there's some Gullah stuff at Ocon. I haven't been to Defusky in years. Joss and I went over there and did a day trip and kicked around in a golf cart and did some stuff, and wanted to get back before it kind of got dark and
so you didn't eat at the bar?
I think we got something like during the day, at that bar that's kind of like whatever they call it. I don't know if it's some Freeport Landing or where there's that.
Yeah, right there at the dock.
Where they do the, what do they call it? The rust.
Oh, the
tub,
yeah, I can't remember what it's called.
Rusty iron.
Oh man, I always blank on this.
I know.
Yeah, but yeah,
scrap iron.
Yes.
Thank you, scrap iron.
Attaboy, nice pull.
I have
I don't know what it is
memory.
with that. Maybe it's just because I'm not a drinker. I know it's in a tremendously popular place, and people love to do day trips over there. I'm pretty sure that you can get some Gullah food over in Defusky.
Yeah, I think you could, or you still can, maybe.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, I would say your best shot for that is probably Ocon. And yes, now Chef B is at Mondesi Sports. They got a few things on their menu that aren't necessarily Gullah, like chicken wings aren't Gullah, and stuff like that. But they do have, obviously some Gullah dishes on there, and that's the whole idea of Mondesi Sports, was to kind of make a tribute to that culture.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That whole, and the greenhouse is like right across the street there, so obviously it's not quite Old Town, but it's just about Old Town.
Right.
Between that and, like I said, Pomodori too, even though there's primarily outside seating at Pomodori too. But yeah, I agree. They've definitely done a nice job on that little stretch
just
there.
driving by it, because, every once in a while I'll just detour through Bluffton just to see like what's new and upcoming. So I have something to like look up or think of.
I always
or
do
something.
it when I go to the pharmacy. I always kick the line.
Yeah, but like I saw that area. I mean, we lived right around the corner from there, but it looks totally different. It's like modern and pretty, and
I'm glad they're
looking.
beautifying it. I'm glad they're, yeah.
It doesn't look like falling down weirdness. Like Pepper's Porch was always falling down, and
I don't even remember. I think that's before my time.
Yeah, probably.
It literally just looked like an old falling down house.
Gotcha.
It was like in a barn, like a house in the trees, and I mean, it was a neat look. They had pretty good,
Great
food,
location,
good food, and
good location.
Yeah,
good food,
they had good music there because they played outside, so it wasn't too loud.
Yeah,
it was a nice little atmosphere.
We lived there before Old Town like really took off.
Yeah,
like they hadn't started adding on to any of the traditional buildings at that point. It was still just like the old brick buildings, and like I opened the Corner Perk with like Josh and Callie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like I was a server there for quite a while.
Nice.
Yeah, and it was interesting working there. Working in general in Old
You
Town.
mentioned your short list. What are the top three you're itching to try around here that you just heard some good stuff about? Like what's on your tour right now?
See, the thing is like there's not many that I have not been to yet.
I figured it was a shorter list.
Yeah. Now, specifically on Hilton Head, because I've been coming down here for such a long time. My top three on Hilton Head, hands down. We talked about Chez George. I love Lulu Kitchen, and I love Charlie's. So a lot of times it's hard for me to get to the ones that I haven't been to, because I need to get to Lulu, whether it's lunch or dinner or brunch. I need to get there every so often and see Scott, because he opened right around the time that we were moving here. I was doing coffee chats on Zoom, and I met him before I even got here. So I got to hit those, I don't want to say as often as I can, but at least every couple of months. And I'm trying to not go crazy with, everything that's going on with the market and everything like that. And you got to kind of keep an eye on that stuff. We haven't been going out as much. And like I said, we venture over to Savannah quite a bit. I will say this. I have not been to Alfred's on Hilton Head, and I have heard spectacular things.
Yeah, they've been there for a long
They
time.
have.
I know. And Lenka does the pierogies. I wanted to go there on a Monday when she was doing her last like pierogi party, and I
haven't had pierogies in forever.
it didn't work. My mom
is the way to
does,
do it.
and they're not homemade, but my mom makes some pretty good pierogies that will suffice for my pierogi fix. But I know that, I know you can do custom orders from Lenka, so you don't have to go to Alfred's to eat them. But I want to go to Alfred's. I want to get whatever that dish is with the. I feel like it's veal with like the gravy and stuff like that on it. So that's on there. I haven't been to Europa. I've heard some good things about that. I'm not really the biggest fan of that Northridge, although I think they're trying to make an effort. I mean, they found a body there one day a while back. Like
Northridge is, they got to clean that. It's right by the airport, so
yeah,
that's what you're talking about, right?
yeah,
Yeah, right
That's
where Home
where
Goods is.
Yeah, that's annoying because Home Goods is right there.
Yeah,
Then
no.
fine, move Home Goods.
right. Nala's Beach, I've heard good things about. Lucky Beach didn't quite work out. Like Lucky Rooster closed. We actually had a gift certificate, Lucky Rooster, we were able to use at Lucky Beach before that. Lucky Beach was like, we're going to reopen in March, but then didn't. And then Nala's Beach took over. I haven't tried that yet. It looks kind of cool. The other thing I would say is I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Lee Lucier, that whole group that has fish and local pie, which, you know, I'm a local pie is kind of like the Alvin Orge thing. Like, I don't think of it like traditional pizza, but I've had they did a duck pie one time, like a duck confit pie that was awesome. They just kind of modified the concept at Forest Fire, which I really liked. Apparently tourists didn't particularly like going up to the counter and saying, I want this, this, and this, and them giving it to them on a tray.
Okay.
So now I think you go up and you order and then they like bring it to you.
Okay.
But Heather, his wife, kind of transformed that space. They're calling it Slow Country Barbecue now.
Okay.
So I'm really looking forward to getting there. Lee specifically said he wants me to try the McMansion, which is kind of like their take on a Big Mac.
Oh.
And, you know, and I listen, I like to give everybody the love. Obviously, I did the video at Grooby's with Thomas and Jada Riley. I'm a dedicated crab fan. That being said, I haven't been to Carolina Crab Company in a long time. I've been to Fish Camp.
Hey, they've got great sea crab soup.
Oh, for sure.
It's unbelievable.
Sure.
Have you had better than Carolina crab? I wanted to ask you this because I
It's like
love
a continual battle.
I will say this.
I
I'm glad you mentioned that
soup.
because Anders Graham, who used to work at Shea George, he's working at Lowcountry Kitchen now. That's over by the Jimmy John's, like kind of by like Walmart Target area.
Yeah,
Buffalo
over by
Wild
Buffalo
Wings.
Wild Wings. Yeah.
He posted something a couple weeks ago and he said she crab soup has to have crab roe in it. Stop calling it she crab soup if it doesn't have the roe. He made a batch and I went and got it. It was frozen. I came home, put it in the fridge, and I ate it like the next day. It was the best she crab soup I've had in a long time. Now, there's a catering company, but they got a short lunch menu of a couple sandwiches, a couple salads, and a couple bowls. Highly recommend that. When it comes to the crab and the surge of it all, I like a lot of those restaurants. Now, with my Endeavor, they don't need, because they're big, right?
Yeah,
they don't need
my
help, so to speak, as much as the other ones do. That being said, I still want to try everything. So like before we started recording, I told you, just like I want to go do the McMansion burger, at some point I got to get over to Uncle Billy's Burger Bar and try a burger. And Thomas told me about Roosevelta's Pizza. The idea there is that it's Uncle Billy's Burger Bar, Roosevelta's, and Papi Tequila. One or two of those, the dining room is not open during the day, but they made it kind of a cool thing where you can go to the one that is and order food from any of the three.
Oh, cool.
Which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept.
Yeah. And I would say the only other one on Hilton Head is, and I love Thai Smile. Soon enough, there's going to be another on-site thing where Chef Kanlaya over there. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name, but Chef Kanlaya made a couple of authentic Thai dishes. For Thai Smile used to be where Kenny B's is now.
Okay.
And then they moved over down like by Bodie's Chop House, like across from the Starbucks, right next to the Staples there,
area.
outside of Sea Pines. I love Thai Smile. I'm excited to share the the content that I recorded with RJ from Visually Chopped. It's going to come out soon enough. He's been tied up with some other stuff, and he's been kind of running the show over at Calhoun Street Tavern lately for a while, and I want to go check them out too. It's been a while since I did that. I love Thai Smile. I've also heard really good things about Relish Thai Cuisine, which is formerly Relish. That's by where like Char Bar is.
Oh, okay.
In that shopping center where the Harris Teeter is, where the old, remember back in the day, like Monkey Business or whatever. So I think I paid like $50 to see Steve-O like staple bras to his chest and light his bald head on fire. And then they're like, the show's over.
You're
and
like,
I paid for
"Oops,
my
bye."
buddy too. I just dropped $100 to watch Steve-O light his head on fire. And then that was that. But yeah, I've heard really good things. That Relish was not an Asian restaurant, but before it had took over new ownership and became this more so Thai concept, they just kept Relish and renamed it Relish Thai Cuisine. Relish, we were talking about Chinese food. The chef was Chinese, but it wasn't necessarily a Chinese restaurant. You could go there for brunch and you could go there for lunch, but he had a section of the menu that was Chinese food. And for a while, that was sneaky the best Chinese food on Hilton Head. Like way before
nice.
E-Tang came and everything like that. You could go to Relish over there and you could get by like that little the movie theater with the little dogs running around. You could get dumplings. You could get General Tso's chicken. His grandmother's like wonton soup. You could get pho. You could get ramen. Like he had a bunch of different stuff.
Nice.
But I've heard really good things. Like I said, I'm definitely a Thai Smile loyalist, but I do want to try Relish Thai Cuisine because I've heard some really good things about that too.
Is
Yeah.
Thai Smile open for lunch?
I don't think they open until like 3:00 or something. But
Just wondering for my
not sure about
office.
on the weekends. You might want to check.
I'll check with my office.
Let me ask you, because this is interesting. You talk about you're a specials junkie, like people coming out. How are you staying on top of that? Like, how are you staying? Is there a Facebook site? Is there social media that they have that they put their specials out on a daily basis?
Instagram and Facebook primarily.
But I mean, are you having to go to the individual restaurants, or is there a group, like a community group that they post in? And
The Bluffton and Hilton Head food experience does a good job. Tony
Tony is awesome.
Yeah, Tony Russo. I spoke, and he does that please once in a while too. I spoke to Tony the other day. He wants to do something. He's going to let me know when is a good time. And I know he's planning his like birthday party / meet and greet or whatever at the Oyster Factory Park. The Bluffton and Hilton Head food experience does a pretty good job. Although a lot of times people say that they prefer people posting their own home cooking on there. I'm not opposed to that, but I would rather see restaurant content in a group like that than. But
it started out. It's when I was like one of the ones that first joined it,
Right.
like when he started that, and I remember just like being proud that I could even contribute a photo of what I made because I'm like, yeah, this is
so
it.
because I mean, a lot of people
And
you
Tony
can
liked
talk
that.
about the specials, but like where that's where they can go though to find out what these restaurants
It's one of the
dailies are.
spots. For me, listen, because of my trade as a mortgage loan originator and because I'm doing a food media, I spend a lot of too much time, quite frankly, on Facebook and Instagram. So a lot of times it's Facebook posts, sometimes stories, but primarily Facebook posts and Instagram stories are how I find out about the specials. It's how I find out about the pop-ups. It's how I find out about residencies at like Fleeting and the Thompson in Savannah and stuff like that. So I'm combing constantly for things, and I have a big FOMO. Like, so a lot of times it's like I have to get there. Like when we moved here, my wife was like, you need to slow down. We live here now. We don't need to eat everything right away. So she's pretty good at balancing me out. She also eats like a bird, which works out for me because I end up eating, a little bit more. And like I said, I usually always end up bringing stuff home or whatever. But I would say a lot of it is from specifically the restaurant pages. The Bluffton Hilton Restaurant Experience does a good job with it. There's also a newer page that's picking up steam pretty heavily. It's up to like 500-600 people. Dave Weissman's an avid, Dave and his wife Candace are big foodies. I always joke around that them and Larry Rucco and his wife, which they've always both been very active on the Bluffton and Hilton Head food experience. I always bust their chops because they are at the Bluffton room like literally every 10 to 14 days, if not more frequent. I can't tell you how many selfies Dave and Candace have outside of the Bluffton room. They love that place, and rightfully so. Jeff Congdon and his crew do an amazing job. It's one of the best restaurants in Bluffton, if not anywhere around here. That one's picking up steam. I think it's called the Bluffton restaurant scene, or the Bluffton Hilton Head restaurant scene.
Bluffton restaurant experience, maybe? Or
No,
something?
it's so that's the thing. Tony's is the Bluffton and Hilton Head food experience.
Oh, okay.
Dave's
That's the
newer
one I've seen a lot.
yeah, Dave's newer one is called the Bluffton, I think, and Hilton Head restaurant scene. That's a little bit newer. That's definitely more restaurant focused. That's where you're going to find a lot of, like I said, Bluffton Room, Radici, Shea George. Not that they don't cover more casual stuff, but it's probably more leaning towards focused on the, I don't want to say higher end, but the middle to higher end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of times it's, like I said, it's really just from the individual pages. I also get on a lot of mailing lists.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like, because I'm in the loop on this kind of stuff, like I just got a text message from George before we started recording, and he was like sending me this summer in France menu because they posted it today and I shared it, but then he said dessert change. So like in that instance,
86 chocolate.
Exactly. But like, and that's what I'm saying. Like, talk about imposter syndrome. Like, I know George and I are friends, but like, he's texting me a photo or a JPEG of the updated menu because he knows, number one, I'm interested. Number two, I'm most likely going to share it on,
on socials
or on the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't been doing as much since I converted to this interview format. And which I love, by the way. I haven't been doing as much of the news and notes. I cover a lot of that stuff in just sort of regular posts.
Yeah.
The first season we were doing kind of a section of the podcast was kind of like a what's going on type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's when I realized, like, I'm not a journalist. Right. I'm not a news person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a television show. I'm not trying to compete for
Top anchor.
Yeah, or scoops. Like,
Or
you know what I mean? Like,
columnist. Yeah.
like I don't
Ron
need
Burgundy.
yeah. Like I don't need to break exclusives. I mean, I was one of the first ones to share, you know, when Radici opened, because people wanted to know what was going to happen with the Poor Richard space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so, you know, George was like, we were talking all week that week. It was like, oh, let's talk about it on Saturday. And I'm like, I don't know about on a Saturday. And then he literally, we were actually talking about it because we were interviewing him and those guys from Radici the following week on the podcast. And then he's like, all right, let's drop it on Saturday. And I'm like, I don't know. I think about sports when they want to be something to be buried that they don't want anybody to talk about, they put it out on like a Friday afternoon or evening, right?
Yep.
So I said to him, I was like, yeah, I don't know about Saturday. And so, and basically as soon as it became official and the ink was dry or probably still wet, you know, I jumped up on the computer and I said, you know, this is going to be, you know, Radici Italian Chop House. But again, like I'm not trying to compete for, I don't want to call it headlines, but like, I don't need to be like breaking exclusives.
Right.
Sure.
I'm not a news person. I'm
Right.
not a journalist. I'm just a person that loves food.
Yeah, connoisseur.
And I care about the restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
I have tremendous relationships with the owners and the employees that work in these places.
That's what's important.
Yeah. And
Because when they win, you win. Yeah.
Yep.
right. I don't want them to just survive. I want them to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
And this is probably the most important part of what we're talking about today.
Absolutely.
Tonight almost. Which, I mean, I could go on for hours and hours, but most people don't realize, like, I think it was last summer. Again, I lose track of time. Last summer, I remember it was like early to midsummer, and I was hearing that restaurants in general, overall, and I have owners that are like, they may be consistent and they're like, they're blessed. And, you know, not everybody, but on average, last summer they were down anywhere from 20 to 40%.
I can believe it.
And if they're down 20 to 40% in the summer, Lord knows what's going to happen. And we've seen it, right?
Yeah.
You've seen Lucky Rooster like, I don't need to go through all the closures.
Oh,
Everybody
been
knows.
since we've been here,
But there's been a lot. Now, this summer, I didn't hear percentages, but I did hear from, through various outlets that like this summer just was not as busy as previous summers, at least after 4th of July or so.
Yeah. It was tolerable, I guess, but it was still, there's always a shift between, 4th of July traffic, tourism, and then all of a sudden now the kids went back to school.
Right.
The groupings are different. It's less congested, but there's still a ridiculous amount of traffic.
There is. Now, I don't complain about traffic because I come from North Jersey, and I used to take me I used to go 12 to 15 minutes when I worked at the Meadowlands for the Nets, and it would take me sometimes like over an hour to get there.
True.
So, but that being said, I don't miss like highways. Like I had to go to Columbia last week, and I was like, wow, it's been a while since granted, when I was back up in New Jersey in August, I did a little bit of highway driving, obviously, but that's one of the reasons why I moved here, was to kind of get away from that stuff.
Yeah.
This year, it's been a little soft. You notice already that Saturday rush has kind of slowed down. I mean, remember when we moved here, I made the mistake of making a couple of reservations for like Saturday night at 7:00. One time I was supposed to go to Lulu, and I called Scott. I was like, we're not going to, I called an audible. We ended up going to the Pearl because it was just I couldn't deal with sitting in the car for over an hour to get to dinner, and we were going to be super, super late.
Oh yeah.
But, so the point that I'm trying to make is like, there's a misunderstanding about how much goes into feeding all of those mouths. And that's when Sally and I originally got together to kind of bring this full circle.
Mm-hmm.
When we originally started talking about this stuff, it was, it's a tough business, and people don't realize how hard it is to constantly be feeding these mouths, whether it's families, whether it's couples, whether it's tourists, whether it's locals. Staffing is a huge issue. In Hilton Head, they want you to serve a lot of these people. They want you to, these people, I hate to say it, but like they want to be served their food, but they don't want this development right outside the gates of their plantation or their community.
Yeah.
So we have staffing problems. People have to drive from long distances.
On the cost of housing, and then versus what they make, because I mean, maybe the no tax on tips helps them. I don't know, but I mean, it doesn't help right now because I know some people that live in Estill, and they drive to the island to work at a restaurant. Like that's not fair for the food and beverage workers.
It speaks to a greater issue. I saw a stat the other day that said like, minimum wage isn't even enough for someone to afford to be able to like live in or buy a regular apartment. I can't remember the exact words again, and I don't want to get into politics and all that kind of stuff, but it speaks to a much larger issue. But again, specifically with this area, which is very unique, I've learned it from the perspective of a mortgage loan originator. I've learned it from the perspective of a foodie. This is a very different area, right? And it relies on that tourism. And I'll never be anti-tourist because I was one.
Right.
But the spirit of this endeavor is to try to do everything that I can do that's within my power to keep these places busier on a more regular basis.
Yep.
So, for example, just to bring it back to the specials, I said that I don't want to break things, but I'm going to kind of sort of break something right now. I'm on the verge of launching a website that's going to be part of the Indulgent Islander brand, right?
Very cool.
And
do you know what the website's the URL is going to be?
theindulgentislander.com.
Good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you heard it here,
Nice.
folks.
Yeah.
Coming soon. It's under construction.
It's imminent, and there's a ton of where it took me hours upon hours upon hours just to get all the info in there.
I know.
Yep.
Web addresses, social handles, logos, all that kind of stuff. It's going to be another period of time before it's going to be fully stocked up, because I have hundreds, if not thousands, of photos, and I want my photos that I've accumulated to be all on there. But one of the reasons why I want to have this is because, and the possibilities are endless depending on, and with the technology that we have now, and there's technology all around us in here. I told you I was blown away, and I continue to be blown away as we continue to record. But in a perfect world, I'm not going to say that this is going to be part of it, but in a perfect world, for someone like me, I always think, how great would it be if I could go to, just like you said, if I could go to one place and I could say, who's got, like, I'm trying to think of my, Asabuco.
Okay.
Like we talked about Vine. Vine had two different ones. And they were both spectacular, but like, I would love to be able to go to a place and say, who's got an Osabuco special tonight? Or what's the special at Shea George, or what's the special at Lou? Now, that would take a lot, and obviously it would require participation of either restaurant owners and or staff. But if you could have a destination to go where that resource would be at your fingertips, that's like utopia for me as a foodie. Because yes, like you said, Brian, it takes a lot of time to go through, and sometimes I'll miss something. Sometimes I'm like, how did I miss that?
Yeah.
How did that go over? And then I'm like, oh, it's because I was out of town and whatever. Very little gets past me.
Yeah.
I'm like the Patrick Waugh of specials, like I'm not letting anything slip through the 5-hole or whatever. Like, I'm on top of this, you know what?
And
so
you post about them. And
I do.
I mean, you do share this. That's fantastic for those businesses.
Yeah.
What? Let everybody know what your social handles are.
So Instagram at EatHHI, EATHHI, very simple.
Yeah.
I always spell it out because tell someone EatHHI. It doesn't exactly roll off the tongue, but it's certainly a simpler handle than the Indulgent Islander. Now, originally,
I don't know. The more it becomes a household name, it might.
You can put it in your bio.
It's pretty,
it's on when you go to. It says the Indulgent Islander. It's just the handles.
I knew you as the Indulgent Islander before I even knew your name was Nick.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's good. I like that. So, and the Facebook page, of course, is the Indulgent Islander. I think it has in parentheses at the end EatHHI, just so we're keeping things consistent.
I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't mess much with X, Twitter anymore, so we're not on there. And I'm sorry, but I was telling Gina this before. Like, I'm a little bit. I still have an iPod. Right?
That's awesome.
I like separation of church and state, if you will. So I got my phone, but then for my podcasts and my music library, I still have an iPod. Like,
that's fantastic.
Mine got stolen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, remember I had a little pink one.
I know.
And I got stolen out of the car.
I think I bought it for you.
No.
Oh.
So I say that because I've had people tell me, like, you got to get on TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm not going to I like to say never say never. It's just not for me.
Here's what I'll tell you about TikTok. It is easy as heck to post on.
Right.
There's just 2 fields. Schedule it. It's done. You can schedule it way out. So the thing with TikTok has is generational. It's well, you know better. It's probably it's a younger crowd.
Yeah.
But
Not our crowd.
I was not involved in TikTok in any way, shape, or form on the podcast or any of my businesses until somebody gave me a chatting to, and they were like, "Hey, if you don't get on the train now, you might get dusted."
And that's the fear. And I spoke to Maggie Washoe from CH2 the other day. Her and Jevin, specifically the Maggie and Jevin doing Lowcountry stuff.
Yeah.
When I got here, they were also one of my biggest inspirations. Jevin not only wrote, produced, performed the theme for the LO show, which was a little informal thing I was doing in my garage to promote local businesses. Originally, he wrote an awesome Rockin' Need Alone called DeSimone for that. I paid for that because I guess I try to support him as much as I can.
Sure.
He ended up coming up with the little jazzy sort of, I think it's a keyboard, but it sounds like horns. This for the intro for the Indulgent Islander.
That's great.
I still use the yellow song when I'm sharing mortgage stuff, but I say that to say that, like, she told me like, and I'll come back to that in a second about why I'm reluctant. to get into yet another platform. She did say, like, what's your demo? And I've always thought to myself, like, my demo is like maybe like 25 to 55. I think it skews a little bit older, not necessarily like 55, but like maybe 35, 40 and to 55, because Facebook is traditionally more for older demographic, right? TikTok is definitely the younger one. The problem that I have is, excuse me, I get easily overwhelmed. So at any given time, I am sharing content on my personal page, not only my own content, but like you said, I share restaurant stuff. I try not to overdo it. A handful of times these last several weeks, I've gotten suspended from reacting to posts because it's been too many likes in a specific period of time, and they won't even let me like something. Yeah. And then if I don't think I've ever gotten maybe once or twice for sharing, but I try not to be overwhelming. But when you're sharing on your personal page, and I'm not like, oh, where I am, what am I doing? But when you're sharing stuff on your personal page and you're sharing stuff for restaurants and food trucks and chefs, and then I'm sharing my podcast and I'm sharing that to Facebook, and I'm advertising on Instagram with links to Facebook. And of course the YouTube, by the way, also the Indulgent Islander. That's where I'd ultimately really like the podcast's like firm home to be.
Yeah, listen, YouTube, or Lowcountry, YouTube is so important to a creator. It's the way, it's the move forward. We're blessed to have 130 subs in 2 months.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But they're hard to get.
It's hard.
Some people don't understand that, subscribing. Look, it just means that when you log on, you go to your home, you're going to have some suggestions that come up from your subscriptions. However, it means a lot to content creators, and it also, if you want to get any alerts about Nick's information, Nick's podcasts, you have to follow him, like his stuff, and then subscribe on YouTube. And on YouTube, you can sign up for alerts. This way, when he pops a new podcast out, you'll get the title of it, and you'll decide you can go on and check it out if it's something you're interested in. And that's the way you're going to find out. Otherwise, you're going to have, for as many keystrokes as you're going to have to do in the future to find the stuff, you might as well just subscribe. It's the easiest way to do it.
It's true.
It's what I do for all my podcasts, sports, wrestling, personal interest stuff, whatever. Like I said, that the only reason why I've resisted to add additional platforms, and I do want to do the Spotify for the pod, is because it's like my personal / business Instagram. Then I have the Eat HHI Instagram. Then I have my personal Facebook. Then I have the Indulgent Islander Facebook page. Then I have my Lowcountry Life LO for loan officer, loan originator, my mortgage Facebook business page. So sometimes I just feel, and then the YouTube.
It's
So
overwhelming.
sometimes I just feel, and so even when I release a podcast, it's like I'm going live, like I said, live to Facebook, live to Instagram, live to YouTube. But then I want to share the Facebook version of the podcast to my personal page. But then I want to screenshot so that I can go to Instagram to share Instagram stories with the links to the Facebook version of the podcast and the YouTube version. So I just get like easily overwhelmed because I'm like, I still got to work and I still got to live. And so, I do the best I can. I'm not saying, like I said, never say never about TikTok. Maybe at some point when I'm able to, maybe get a little bit of help. Like I said,
it's best when you get the shorts down, because it's just you just post the shorts. People don't. Oh, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody who watched long form. I don't know if can you post long form stuff on TikTok.
Your truck driving friends watch the whole thing, and so it's like Jonathan at Spectrum Paint, stuff like that. I'm talking about all of it.
No, on TikTok. Yeah, but on TikTok, can you put long form stuff on TikTok? I don't think so. So it's all shorts. Yeah,
I remember when I was doing the LO show, I used to try to post like 15, 20, 25-minute videos on Instagram. And I would sit there, and then it would get to the end, and then it would be like video cannot be posted, and I would have to maybe chop it up into two. And that's when I was realized I'm like, I'm not even like, I did one that was 10 minutes. I could probably put the chicken parm one on Instagram because it's 10 minutes, but I'm primarily using Instagram for, like I said, the carousels. If I'll do a video, a quick video or a story or something like that, but I'm primarily using Instagram to drive people to the Facebook page and to drive people to, again, more so YouTube, because when you go live on Facebook, it's only going to stay there for 30 days.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've a couple of those podcasts have gotten like into the thousands of views on Facebook. So I still think it's important to utilize that tool. But I think the ultimate destination, at least for me, is, again, it's where I'm going to watch all my podcasts is YouTube.
Yeah, as YouTube.
So I want to get as much of the audience as I can to go there.
I think we find that our watchers are they're on our watchers are on YouTube,
Yes,
and our listeners are on Spotify.
it's true.
And and people tell us that specifically because I'm like, I try to drive them to YouTube. Like, it's more important for me. But now I'm finding out that Spotify is actually important too. You can monetize on Spotify and all that stuff.
I got to get working on Spotify.
Yeah,
I'm going to pick your brain on that, man.
Yeah, we
Spotify
will
for
here in just a minute.
creators.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just look it up online. And
I mean, I'm using it all the time anyway.
you
Might as
you
well.
have
all
an
have to
account,
do
it's
is-
free.
Yeah, you just sign up
Yeah.
for the Spotify for creators. It's
Cool.
easy. Just
Yeah.
go on your computer to do it. You
Got
can
it.
do it on your phone, but it's easier to do on the
And
laptop.
that's where it gets tricky sometimes too, because
Apps don't
some of
always
this stuff
compute.
you can't, you got it. It's weird. Some of the stuff you got to do it on your phone. Some of it you
Yeah,
got to
like
do it on
YouTube
your
Shorts.
computer. Yeah,
You
yeah.
got to change the thumbnail on your phone. It's weird.
Right. It's a
Yeah,
lot.
so you'll be back, right?
Oh, for sure.
I figured so.
Hell yeah. This
I'll
is
cook
an
next
absolute
time.
Isn't this a blast? It's so much fun.
I can't even. I mean, we've been here for a couple. I'm over the moon. Thank you guys so much for having me.
No, thank you for coming. We called
Yes.
you out and you came, and that's been the case. Everybody we've called out
It's true.
contacted us, or we've contacted them, and
He's like a
they
dog
come.
to a bone. He's like, I'm gonna just start calling people out. You've been his like number 2 besides Chip Michaelov.
Yeah.
And
I
we
wanted
got
to
Chip
get
first.
you on the show,
To
man.
even be considered in that, like I talk about what's the word I keep talking about? Imposter. To even be
Imposter
in that
syndrome.
same conversation as that is incredible. You got an immediate fan of Lowcountry Unscripted in me. And
Awesome.
I can't wait for people to watch this.
That makes
Here.
me so excited. Yeah, and you know, we can all work to help each other out on social media.
Hell
And speaking of call outs, we've got one. Holly Hammett, Holly's Beach Club Radio. She's coming up. We just met her. She is the sweetest girl. She has a radio station on the island. It's Holly's Beach Club. It's on, I think it's ourgenerationradio.com. She was just on last night. It was awesome.
Give
So
us a nice shout out.
yeah, it was really cool. She gave us a nice shout out, and that's why I returned the favor right there. So Holly, we're really excited to have you on the show. And listen, Low Country, Nick's gonna be back, because I don't know if Nick realizes this, but you'll realize that there's something that's very similar to all of our stories, and that's that Nick's writing his story, and the way you can tell is how enthusiastic he is about what he's doing. And so he may not realize that he's writing a story right now for his future. He is. So Low Country, you keep writing your story, keep building, keep dreaming, and we're going to see you next time on Low Country's Unscripted.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you guys so much.
No, thank you for being here.
This was awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.